welcome to my channel. Today I have another mystery box challenge video. If you guys are not familiar with the mystery box challenges, they are hosted by my friend Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. She gets a group of us DIY YouTubers together, and each one of us has to send another person from the group a box full of crafting goodies. In each box, there is also 2 challenge items that have to be a little bit more tricky to craft with. And we also incorporate a twist every month as well. But this month, instead of doing the twist, we are gonna do a random act of kindness. And also, since we're not doing the twist, the challenge items are a little bit different. So for one of the challenge items, it has to be automobile themed. And then for the second challenge item, the item itself has to start with one of the letters that spell out the word Grinch. I sent my box over to Whitney over at Whiskey and Wit, and the box I'm going to be opening today is from Jamie, the DIY guy. I'm a little nervous to see what Jamie sent me, but let's go ahead and open up the box. I've got the box here that Jamie sent me, so let's open it up and see what goodies are inside. On top, we have a card. Oh, how cute. Says, enjoy the day. That's really cute. Christina, I'm excited to work with you at this round of the Mystery Box Challenge. Just remember, this is all in good fun and in the name of creativity. Happy holidays, Jamie. Very cute card. I'm still really nervous. Oh, let's get in here. We've got, looks like the mystery items here. I've been looking for one of these for a while. I've been to like 4 different Dollar Trees looking for this specific item. So I'm really happy that Jamie sent me this because I already have an idea in my mind of what I want to do. We have some mini pine kits, always good for Christmas crafts. And these would even be good for like winter themed stuff. So I'm excited to work with these. Thank you, Jamie. We have some DIY ornament kits from Gingerbread Man. I just did a gingerbread themed video and these would have like been super good to have then, but maybe I'll do some more gingerbread themed stuff. We have some mini bells, always good to have. Again, looking pretty good so far. Copper wire LED lights. Another really great item to have. And one of the doll houses from Dollar Tree. Again, I have some good ideas that I might be able to do with this. I've seen a lot of people work with these and I haven't done one yet, so I'm excited. Thank you, Jamie, for sending me this. All right, now to the challenge items. We'll do challenge item number 1. A fake security camera? Okay. I'm not really sure what to think about this or what I'm even gonna do, but this might be a little bit hard. I'm gonna have to think about this one. This is probably one of the hardest items I've ever gotten, so it'll be fun though. Okay, challenge item number 2. This is the auto themed one. So this one must have been the one that for the first letter or one of the letters in Grinch. So then this one is the automobile themed one. Squishy. Oh, okay. One of the like microfiber towels. Oh, okay. This one I'm not so scared about. This, I think I'll be okay. The security camera though, Jamie, come on. This is gonna be hard. That was everything in the box. I'm gonna take a few days to think on it. I'm really gonna have to think on that security camera. And then I'll get to crafting and I'll be back in just a few minutes, your time. For the first project today, I'm going to be using 2 of these felt gingerbread men that came in the DIY ornament kits that Jamie sent. I am going to be sewing them, but I only own this one tiny little needle because I just do not sew. So instead, I'm just going to be using my little Cricut tool here to poke a hole in the Gingerbread Man's face because I'm going to be creating a smile with this cream color yarn. So once I have the hole made, I'm just going to take the yarn and string it through that hole. I then created a second hole and strung that yarn through that one. And I'm just going to be creating a smile here, and I did leave a little bit of a swag on the front so that it looks like a smile. Along the back side, I just tied that yarn off to make sure that it stayed in place. And then I did end up using a tiny bit of hot glue underneath his smile just to make sure it stays in place. And then using these two really small wood beads, and these are going to be used as my Gingerbread Man's eyes. And here I'm just using one of my black paint markers to color those both in. I did just put them on the end of my Cricut tool just to help me out because they are so tiny. Next, I'm going to be putting the two felt Gingerbread Man pieces together, and here is where I'm going to start stringing my cream color yarn through some holes to sew him together. So at the top, he already had a hole made since he was an ornament, and that is where I started stringing the yarn through, and then I just tied that off on the back side to secure it. And then from here, I started creating holes with my little Cricut tool that I have here. I would just poke a hole in and then string the yarn through the hole. And I did have it like overlapping the outside of him so that you could see like where the stitches were. Now, obviously, if I had a needle, it would have gone a lot faster, but I like to do things the hard and difficult way. I continued making stitches all the way around the edges of the Gingerbread Man until I got around to the other side. You can see here what the stitches will look like, and I left the opening because now I'm just going to be filling him with some polyfill so that he looks stuffed. Once I have him all stuffed, I'm then going to just continue making stitches around his entire body, and then I'm going to attach his eyes. I'm just going to be using those beads that I painted earlier on, and I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to attach them. For his bow tie, I'm going to be cutting a strip of this burgundy and cream color fabric from Hobby Lobby. I really wanted to have a rustic looking bow, and I thought this was the perfect fabric for it. I just created a simple bow, and then for the two buttons that are going to be on his front side, I'm just using these really small wooden pieces from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using my black paint marker to color them in. Once the paint was dry, I just used some hot glue to attach both of those buttons right on his front side, and then also some hot glue to attach his bow. And this is what he looks like all finished, but this project is not done. I am going to be using one of these wooden crate pieces that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting the entire thing with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. I'm then going to be using this Gingerbread Baking Company stencil. This one is either from Amazon or Temu, and I'll try to have it linked down below. I'm only going to be using the bottom portion of the stencil, and I'm just getting it centered onto the front of my wooden crate, and then I'm using some painter's tape to hold it into place. The paint color that I'm using to stencil on is from Folk Art, and it's called Raw Sienna, and that is the only color I use to stencil on my words. And then once the paint was dry, I removed the stencil. I'm then adding some floral foam on the inside of my crate, and then this is where I'm going to be incorporating some of those pine picks that Jamie sent me. I'm just going to be placing them in the floral foam along with some of these other pine picks that I had in my craft stash, and then I also used some from Hobby Lobby as well. So once I have them all placed into my crate, I did end up adding a few like little branches that I had as well, and this is also where I'm going to incorporate those lights that Jamie sent. I'm just stringing them around all of the branches, and then I'm just tucking the little battery pack inside. And then for the very last step, I'm just placing my little gingerbread man inside. Here is the project all finished. I was able to incorporate 3 of the items that Jamie sent me, and I love this project so much. I think it is so cute and it looks really pretty at night lit up. Now for DIY number 2. For this one, I'm going to be using this home sign that Jamie sent, and I was so excited when I saw that he had sent me this because I've been looking for this for quite a while. The first thing I did was just remove the bead on the end, and then I just slid the houses and the rest of the beads off of the wire that was inside because I'm only going to be using the 4 houses from this piece. For 2 of the houses, I'm painting them with the folk art paint in the color True Burgundy, and then for the other 2 houses, I'm painting them with the folk art paint in the color Olive Green. I'm also going to be incorporating these 3 unfinished wood houses. These ones are from the Target dollar spot a couple of years ago. I have just yet to use them. For all 3 of them, I'm going to be staining them with my folk art wood tint in the color Walnut. I'm also going to be using these unfinished wood letters to spell out the word Noel, and these ones are from Hobby Lobby. And then for all of the letters, I'm just painting them with my white paint pen. Because these houses had the wire on the inside, they had a hole in all of the sides, and I wanted to cover that up. So here I'm just using some of this burlap ribbon from Hobby Lobby, and I just cut it down to size to go along the outside of the house, and then I'm just going to be hot gluing that ribbon on the outside. I did the same thing for all 4 of my smaller houses just to get those holes all covered up. Then I'm going to start attaching my larger wood houses together using some hot glue. I probably should have used a stronger holding glue like E6000, but I didn't have any nearby. So next I'm going to be transferring on these vinyl doors that I cut out on my Cricut. These are in Cricut Design Space. I did not design these myself. So I cut out a larger one for my larger, taller house here, and then I cut out 2 smaller ones for the smaller houses. So I'm just getting those all transferred on in the center, and then I'm going to start attaching my smaller houses to the front of my larger block houses. Again, just using some hot glue to attach all of them. And I did start with the red house, then the green house, then another red house, and then another green one on the very end. I'm then going to attach all of my wood letters to spell out the word Noel going across the front of the houses that are colored. I wanted to add some details, so here I'm going to be using 3 of these little mini wreaths. These ones are from Hobby Lobby, and they originally had a bow on them, but I cut those off. And then here I'm going to be incorporating some of the mini bells that Jamie sent me. I'm cutting one of the bells off, and I'm leaving some of the wire on it so that I can loop that around and up over the center of the wreath. And then I'm just going to be like twisting that so that the bell stays into place, and then I'm just cutting the excess wire off and then just pressing the wires along the backside so that you can't see them. So here I have a little bell on the inside of my wreath, and I thought that was really cute. So once I have that done to all 3 of my wreaths, I'm then going to be hot gluing them on the front top portion of all of my stained wood houses. Then to add a little bit more detail to my wreaths, I'm using some of this white string, and I'm just creating a really simple bow for all 3 of the tops of my mini wreaths. I'm also going to be using 4 of these wooden star buttons. These ones are from Temu, and here I'm just going to be painting them all white with my white paint pen. And then once the paint dried, I'm using a small piece of jute to string through the little holes that are in the front of the button. And then I just did like a little knot tie on the front to add some detail. And then I lost the clip of me hot gluing them all on the very top of all of the colored houses, but I did that as well for the very last step. This is what my piece looks like all finished. I love this piece so much. I think it would be absolutely beautiful up on a mantle. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so one of my tables will have to do. Before we get into the next project, I do want to talk about the act of kindness that I did this month. I love animals, so I went ahead and went on our local Humane Society's shelter's website, and there's so many different things that you can do to help out the animals, but what I did this month is went on their Amazon wish list that they have and just looked through all of the items that they need, and they'll have them listed as highest priority, lowest priority, but I went ahead and ordered some of the highest priority items that they need at the shelter to help out the animals. What's also great about it is I was able to have the items directly shipped and delivered to the shelter without even leaving my home. So if you don't have a lot of time, this is something great that you can do from your own home. Let's get right back into the projects for DIY number 3. I'm going to be starting with this red pillow cover from Amazon, and then I'm going to be using the white microfiber towel that Jamie sent me. This was one of the challenge items, and here you can see I'm just cutting a small strip of it from the side of the towel, and then here I'm going to use some hot glue along the back side of that strip of towel, and I'm just going to be folding those over so that it looks a little bit nice along the edges. Once I have that entire strip glued, I'm then going to be gluing that strip to the very bottom edge of my pillow cover. After I had that one all glued on, I did need to do a second one. So here I'm just cutting a second strip of the white towel and then doing those same steps that I did before, just using the hot glue to attach the white towel to itself along the back side just to create a nice looking strip, and then once that strip was glued together, I glued that one along the other edge of my pillow cover. For the front of the pillow, I created this HoHoHo iron-on vinyl piece with my Cricut. I will have it linked down in my description box if you guys want the cut file. And here I'm just using my heat press to get it all ironed onto the front of my pillow. And then once it was cool to the touch, I just removed the film backing. And then I did already have a pillow that would fit perfect in the pillow cover. So here I'm just stuffing my pillow in the cover. Here's my pillow all finished. I think it is really cute. It was super easy to do, and I'm just so happy that Jamie was nice to me and sent me a really easy challenge item. Next up is DIY number 4, and this is going to be the fake security camera that was challenge item number 2. I had no idea what to do with this item. I thought on it for days and days and days, and I finally came to the conclusion that I was just going to make it into like a Santa cam. So here I took apart the security camera, and I'm only going to be using the lens portion of the camera for this project. I'm also going to be using this unfinished wooden ornament from Hobby Lobby, and the first thing I did was just cut off the red ribbon that was on the top because I don't need it, and then for the bottom portion of the ornament, I'm painting it with my folk art paint in the color True Burgundy, and then for the very top of the ornament, I painted that with my Waverly paint in Ivory. I then created this vinyl decal that says North Pole Surveillance Company on my Cricut, and here I'm just getting it transferred to the bottom of the ornament. I will have a link down to it in my description box if you're interested in the cut file. And as you can see, I also did another second of vinyl sticker that says Santa Cam, and I just transferred that on the top of the ornament. But then because my transfer tape kind of took off the paint, I ended up just going with it and using the tape some more to distress the entire front of the ornament. Next, I'm using some hot glue on the back side of that camera lens, and I'm just attaching it to the very center of the ornament. Then I'm going to be using some of this really pretty green ribbon. This is from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to be putting it through the top hole of my ornament to create my hanger. This is the ornament all finished. This one really did stump me, but I love how this project turned out, and I think it looks super cute on my Christmas tree. Next, we have the 5th and final project in today's video, and I'm going to be using this dollhouse from Dollar Tree that Jamie sent me, and I've seen so many people redo these into like Christmas style houses. So I'm gonna try to make a gingerbread house with mine. I first started by just taking all of the doors and windows off of the house, and then I also took the roof off of the house as well. I started painting the bottom portion of the house with my raw sienna colored paint from Folk Art. I really wish I would have had a spray paint for this because I did have to do several different coats of this paint on the plastic. But then the top of the house, I did do that in the Waverly chalk paint in ivory. But then the little like detail piece on the front of the roof, I did do that in that same raw sienna color. This was a little bit darker than I would have liked to have been. I kind of wish I would have added a little white to it to make it a little bit lighter, but it is what it is. I also painted the two little triangle windows at the top with that raw sienna color as well. And then for the door, I first started to paint it white and I didn't really like how that looked, so I painted that with the raw sienna too. I then used some of my ivory colored paint to paint all the little detail pieces on the front of the house. I painted them that raw sienna color just because I wanted the pink to be covered up before I started going in with the white. Then for the little details on all of my windows, I used my white paint marker just because it was a little bit easier. And then for like the little window or I don't even know how to say it, the scroll window stuff on the front of the roof, I used my white paint marker for that too. Then I started just putting everything back together. I put the roof back on the bottom portion of the house, and then I started just snapping in all of the windows. To add a little bit of detail, I used some of my white puffy paint from Dollar Tree, and for all of the little details that were on the roof of this house, I just went over them with the puffy paint just to add a little bit of dimension and texture to my gingerbread house. Here's my gingerbread house all finished. I kept it really simple, and I ended up just placing it on a little blanket of snow with some Dollar Tree trees on a tray that sits on my coffee table. And that was it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed watching. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to go down in my description box and click on the link to the playlist so that you can check out everybody else's videos that are in today's mystery box challenge. I want to thank you all so much for watching.